Consent is more than a defence. Defendants who use the defence are saying that the victim consented to what was being done to them. So actually, no offence occurred. I was allowed, says the defendant, to inflict this harm on that person because they said I could do it. They consented. And of course, there are lots of everyday situations where the law doesn't get involved. Surgery, tattoos, piercings. As long as we give consent and the doctor is carrying it out for a good reason and a good medical reason, then the law won't get involved. And there are lots of other situations where we accept the risk involved in certain activities, whether that's contact sports or playing around or play fighting or horseplay. All of these are situations where we accept the risk of harm and consent to that risk. There are, however, situations where the law does get involved. And where the law gets involved, there are a number of things that the law needs to look at in order to work out whether the defendant can use the defence of consent or not. The first of these is, what exactly can someone consent to? The law does allow victims to consent to all types of and levels of injury, but, for example, will never allow them to consent to their own death. The second question that gets asked is the consent real? Did the defendant get the consent of the victim by fraud or lies? Or did they perhaps coerce them into consenting? If this is the case, then it's unlikely the defendant could be able to use the defence. The third thing that the court needs to consider in the law is it informed consent? In other words, did the victim have enough understanding and knowledge to give consent to what the defendant was doing to them? And the fourth part relates to mistaken belief. What if the defendant mistakenly believes that the victim is consenting when they're not? Can they still use the defence?